you kind of lost me at data transfer. I don't know what's going on.
FTP, file transfer protocol.
Now, what we have to remember is that not every position can be changed to every other position.
And making sure that the users we have now stay happy and stay on while trying to attract some other people to play.
They make
Hustle
my
home, but
today.
yeah. No, that's over in a heartbeat. Ain't got any problem with that.
Welcome. Hope everybody's had a good couple of weeks, and hope everybody is getting ready for the Super Bowl. Supposed to be a good one. Not sure exactly yet who I'm rooting for, but I just hope it's one of those that lasts at least 4 quarters and isn't over in the first 15 minutes or so after the first quarter, rather. Anyway, tonight, this is episode 7 of season 4. So welcome to another episode of This, That, and the Other. I'm your host, Majique. And before we get started, somebody made a comment a while back. I guess I'd worn my Razorback hat several shows ago. And they asked about the dent in the side. I guess it's over here somewhere. And I kind of, I told them the hat's fine. It's my head. So you'll wear it and it fits to your noggin. So, but anyway, tonight, Reggie Swinton, NFL player, Dallas, Green Bay, Detroit, Arizona Cardinals. Also played at Murray State under Coach Houston Nutt. Is expected to join us. He's got some things going on, but he plans to make an appearance and visit with him, primarily for talking about youth activities. He's real big into youth football, etc. So want to pick his brain about that, and also talk a little bit about how the real world and what if sports tie in together from an actual person that's been there instead of a lot of us guys who just wish we'd been there. And also on the show tonight, we got indpnt1. Many of you have seen him post on the boards and have interacted with him on those boards. So we're going to get a chance to pick his brain as well. Maybe sneak a secret or two out of him, but let's go ahead and pull him on right quick. And the other guests that are in the room, in the back room, I should say, be patient. We will be with you momentarily, but here's Joe. How are you, sir? You're not very good with the mic on the mute, though.
There we go.
Yeah, we don't want to hear what you got to say anyway. So
yeah, I was kind of hoping you were going to read my lips, but thank you for having me on. I'm doing great. At least I think I'm doing great.
Now, I will say I did notice some Redskin swag in the background. What's that all about?
Well, actually, yeah, I think I kind of built my Redskins bona fides quite a few years ago. I actually slept out at RFK Stadium in 1982 in 0-degree weather to get tickets to go to the NFL championship game or the NFC championship game against Dallas Cowboys. So that's how much of a Redskin fan I used to be. Of course, it's kind of difficult to be a Redskin fan these days, especially now that they've got some really stupid name.
Yeah.
But not much of
the show. I'm sure that you've seen my Redskin paraphernalia a time or two. So
yeah, I'm not much of an NFL fan, to be honest. It's getting a little bit political, a little too political for me at the moment.
Yeah, I mean that is so true, and unfortunately, I think that's the way a lot of the sports and a lot of the activities in general that celebrities partake in have become. Between the actors and the songwriters and the musicians and the singers and cross sports of all kind, even the Olympics, for crying out loud. It's just ridiculous. I think everybody just needs to hike up their big boy panties and freaking deal with it. It's just absurd. It's ridiculous. But anyway, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, family background, age, favorite teams, anything you want to share.
Well, I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area. I presently live in Virginia. I'm a federal government employee.
Okay, hang on here a second. We have 2 people in the background in the green room waiting to come on. One is Shannon, and the other is my daughter, Brooke. And every swinging one of us has been to Virginia or either lived there at some time. That's just wow. We'll just name this show Virginia. But anyway, so you're a FAA contractor, if I remember.
No, I'm not. No. I work for the federal government. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to give too much specific information. I don't keep that as close to the vest as I keep my playbook information. But yeah, I work for the federal government, very large organization. I'm doing okay. Late 50s. Don't need to be too specific about that. Born during the John F. Kennedy administration, playing what if sports during the pandemic. And, actually, I love recruiting. I love college football. I went to University of Maryland, and I was a huge University of Maryland fan back when they had a real football program. Now, not so much, unfortunately. And but I love recruiting, and what if sports is great that you can have football and you don't have to deal with the distractions that the real world has. You could just pick good football players and hopefully build a good team and compete against some good people. So I enjoyed it immensely. I got 3 teams. Actually, I have 3 different profiles. One is indpnt1. This one, for some reason, I've used that username for like 25 years, and I absolutely hate it. I hate this username, but every time I look up, I got it again. Wingman 474, and the one I like the best, the one that will probably last when I quit, Blind Squirrel. That's the one I like. That's one I'll probably wind up with keeping.
So how did you find out about What If Sports?
Yeah, actually, I found out about 10 years after I would have, because I have been on a perpetual search for football simulations. Mm-hmm. In fact, I used to play EA Sports. I'd get the EA Sports college recruiting game every single year. And I was continuing on a search for this, but I didn't find it till like 3 years ago. So I don't know what happened, why I couldn't find it. And then, of course, when I found out that this game's been around for 10 or 15, 20 years, I just shocked, because if I had found this 10 or 15 years ago, I would have been playing it for 10 or 15 years. Yeah. So I just stumbled on it one day. I don't know how I did, but
it is addictive. It is definitely addictive. You say you've got 3 teams, or with this ID, I'm assuming, but you've been across the board from D3 all the way up to D1A Elite yet?
Yeah, well, I have 3 teams, 1 team each profile.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I do my best. And in fact, I've had 2 profiles for about 2 years now, and probably for the first 3 or 6 months, I had 2 profiles on in the same world. And then I just decided, each profile will be in a completely different world. I want to be above board. No one's going to be able to accuse me of cheating. And I've had 4, 5, 6 teams at a time. I'm down to 3. And I think at some point I'm hoping to go down to 1. Now that I've won a couple national championships, that satisfied that overwhelming need in my life. Slowly improved. I think I'm a pretty good coach, but I know there are some coaches out there that are a lot better than me. I do remember you taking over one of my Missouri teams, and the year you took my Missouri team, your running back won the Heisman Trophy.
Yes,
I remember that.
Yes, he did. Yes, I remember that. And I thanked you, if I'm not mistaken, because he was the ultimate stud. Great athleticism, super speed, elusiveness was way out there. Just a tremendous ball player. And I ran him. I mean, I ran him till he puked at least 3 times. So it was, he carried the ball for me.
Well, I think if I had that team now, I think back in those days, that was maybe a year or 2 ago, I relied very heavily on recruiting for my success in those days. So what would happen is I'd recruit a real good team, and I do well, but I couldn't push myself over the top. And then I'd leave a team, and somebody else would come in and win a national championship with the team I built. So, and I'm sure it's because they were a better coach than I was. But now,
them players matter.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's one part of the element. There's one element to the equation. There are 10 or 15 or maybe 20 things that you could do to put a good team on the field, and some of those things, if you're not doing well at them, you're going to limit your success. So
absolutely. And this game has so many different nuances to it that you can't excel at everything, but you can specialize in one particular area or be really good in one particular area and actually make a name for yourself in excelling. And that's a hell of a segue, because Joe, I'm going to put you back in the waiting room, if you don't mind, and bring on our featured guest, Reggie Swinton, who made a hell of a name for himself running the ball back. Reggie, welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it, Mike.
Hey, I know it was short notice, and I appreciate you jumping on with us, because it's just a pleasure to have an opportunity to actually get to pick your brain, somebody who's actually been there and done that, as they say. And I know you don't know very much about What If Sports primarily, but essentially it's an online gaming platform where we get to pretend to be coaches, and we're responsible for recruiting and the budgets and playbooks and depth charts and scheduling and practice. I mean, yeah, we're talking about practice.
Not a game.
Yeah, and it's in depth and it's addictive. I've been playing for going on 20 years. So it's not something that just showed up, last week. I mean, it's been around, and we've got some great coaches that come on and share some things with us. And one of the things we always talk about is how real life compares to what we're doing as far as like the intangibles. You can't measure a person's heart. You can't measure their emotional attachment to a particular program or their emotional desire to really perform well for a particular coach. And so that's why I enjoy talking with some former football players, because they give an insight that many of us don't have. And for those that don't know, I know you took the hard way and you made it happen. You were determined, Murray State walk-on, and then got drafted, and saw your time with a couple of teams and took some hits.
You saw that?
I know that Philly game is one you won't forget.
September 19, 2002.
See? that was how's he getting up from that hit? But anyway, brought you on to talk about youth sports primarily, because I know a lot of us, we coach or have coached in the past. I know I coached up in the Cabot area for about 10 or 14 years, something like that, youth sports. And it takes a special person to coach youth sports in any sport. Especially when you're dealing with the guys that you deal with,
right?
Those 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds. I mean, tell us about how you got involved in the youth activity.
I've actually been coaching since I retired in 2006, and I got to coaching, like getting really involved with it in 2010. It was well, no, I coached my oldest son in middle school at Pulaski Heights for a couple of years. Then they carried over to youth football in 2010 or 11, I believe it was. And I started my own league in 2013. And since then, it's grown. We've had our ups and downs in the league, but we've also had a lot of kids to get offers now that's come out of our program from the year we started to now. And so we got a kid that just got offered by the Razorbacks. He's playing for North Little Rock High School now. And kid got offered by Jackson State and by Arkansas State and Middle Tennessee. And so I got one kid at Louisiana Monroe. I got one kid that just signed with Oklahoma, and he just got there last month. So these are kids that came out of my program directly. So it makes me proud as a coach just to have seen these kids start with me, and now they're doing big things. My son is at Jackson State now with Deion.
I saw that. Congrats.
Just dropped him off a couple of days
He's
ago.
following Daddy's footsteps.
I'm super proud of that. And but when I played football, you said I got drafted. I wasn't drafted. I signed a free agent contract.
Oh, okay.
So
my bad.
I actually had to take the long road to making it, being
right.
cut 9 times and being traded twice in every football league you could name. So I took the hard road for sure. So I can teach my kids now that ain't nothing in life gonna be easy. I don't care what it is, and if it's easy, you don't want it. You want to be able to work for what you have.
Yeah.
And so that's what I teach my kids: now, hard work, dedication. Now I'm an old school coach. You know, nowadays you can't coach these kids hard. They go cry to their mamas and daddies. I'm from the old Bill Parcells era. Man, I tell my parents in April at our meeting, that's how I coach. I'll never hit your kid. I'll never curse your kid. But I'm gonna coach their ass hard as I can.
Yep.
I don't take the gray area. There's no nice try, next time, little Bobby. Nah. It's either you got it done or you didn't get it done. That in the middle get you beat.
Yeah.
And I don't like getting beat.
Yep, exactly. I know I had the pleasure of coaching some kids, and I actually coached against Bryce Petty, and his dad and I were good friends up in Cabot. And, I've had kids that went on to Harding and Washita and Henderson, etc. And I'm proud of those guys for what they've achieved, but it's no more so than those kids who have joined the military, who become doctors, lawyers, sanitation department managers, chefs. I mean, across the line. And, there was one common thing I saw, or I still can see in each and every one of those. And that common thread is respect. And we're talking late 90s and up to 2000s when I was coaching. And those kids in that era had a lot of respect, not just for their parents and, the coaching staff, but for the game of football. And you alluded to it earlier. You can't ride the kids today too hard because they'll go run off. That's one of the things that, again, we talked earlier, you can't coach. A kid has it or he doesn't, and he needs to get it by proper home training early on in his life. What do you see as one of the biggest difficulties when it comes to training kids and coaching kids who simply don't have that respect? How do you handle and try to change some of that attitude and correct that behavior?
A lot of these kids don't have male figures in their life. And I think a lot of that is showing kids love. And I can give you a story about that. I had a kid that our first year of our program in 2013, his mom came to me. I didn't know her. She didn't know me. She came to me with this little chunky kid. I almost said his name. Little chunky kid. And she came, she said, "Coach, can you help me with him? This is bigger than football. And he's a big boy. He can play football, but it's bigger than football." She said, "It's my fault, but all he's ever seen was men come in and out my house. And so he ain't got no respect for men." And she was like, "I need help." So I said, "Yeah, that's what we're here for, as coaches and mentor." I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So he was an 8-year-old kid that cursed. He cursed like he was a grown man. And so one of my coaches, he was like, "Man, we got to get rid of this kid. He going to mess up our whole program in our first year." I said, "I promised his mom we're going to work with him. We're going to work with him." And so I remember one day in practice, we had conditioning. And all the kids lined up on, the sideline. And we were doing half gassers over and back. So I blew the whistle. Everybody ran over and back. I gave him 45-second rest. I blew it again. Everybody took off. He stays there. So I says, so-and-so, I said, "Why aren't you running?" I said, "Run." She said, "Coach, I ain't running shit." This is a 8-year-old kid, right?
Oh, yeah, you are.
So I was like, oh, and everybody. So now all eyes on me as to what I'm gonna do.
Oh yeah, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
So I go over there to him. I talk to him, between me and him, and he ended up running. Long story short, I started going to the kid's school with him, having lunch with him. Gentleman's club meeting. I wore a suit to school, just surprised him, and he didn't care how much I knew. He wanted to know I cared. And I started keeping that kid with me. And for Thanksgiving, I fed his family. For Christmas, we bought him and his brother some shoes. Oh, man. And over the years, we formed a bond. He's a senior in high school now. And he still calls. Now, he doesn't play football again right now, but he still calls me to this day. And we'll talk once a month. That's awesome. So the thing is, you got to reach some of these kids where they are.
Yeah. And Yeah, that takes a special man to do that.
Yeah,
When you're
but
talking
now,
about man players.
now, I cut it short, but in between when he started cursing that day in about 3 years, that from 2013, 14, and 15, in my program, people thought he was a coach because but he got so much better with the language because he respected me. He started to respect me.
Exactly.
And it started with me. And he got, he would still cuss, but it wasn't like every other word. I mean, it was literally like he was 40 years old at the bar.
Man. But, like you said, that was his environment. That's where he
was a
came
product
from,
of his environment.
unfortunately, in some regards. But,
yeah,
you do what you are. You act the way that you see others act around you, unfortunately.
Right.
Definitely kudos stepping in. And I know that's not the only one that you've been able to help
no.
with going down the road. There's
many, but he's the worst. It's many, but he's the worst.
He's got to be because you mentioned him.
He's in the Behavior Hall of Fame.
But it's not going to surprise you if 5, 6, 7, 10 years from now he comes back to your program and mentors some of those kids that are in his shoes or similar to where he was. So when you provide that motivation, that inspiration, that's a single gesture, but it's like a coaching tree. It's going to have branches, and you're going to come right off of those branches, and other guys are going to do what you did for him. He's going to do that for others, and then they're going to do it, and it's just multiplication. And it's through that kind of effort that a lot of these young men can actually stay out of the places they find themselves in today and become productive individuals in the society and be able to do something for not just themselves, but their family going back as well. So definitely kudos to you. Now let's get on the field. When you're looking at setting up your team, and we're talking about young kids here, but primarily it's going to be the same all the way up through the pros. For instance, an offensive lineman. When you're looking to place a kid in an offensive lineman, it's easy to say, man, he's tall, he's big, he's got to be on the offensive line. But aside from size, do you look for a kid that is strong, or do you look for a kid that can block but isn't quite as strong? Where does that kind of mix, and how do you blend that in order to have a successful person on your offensive line?
You always look at who's that dog, like who's that one, or that two that's dogs. If you have those dogs, with me, my mindset is if you have those two dogs, put them dogs at guard, because you can get 2-3 yards a pop if you got those ones that can just go. Size matters, but I like quickness too, because if you got tackles that's big but they're not quick, them ends in youth football can get around them really quick on passing. So I try to put different combinations all together, and I try to find the smartest one of all of them and make him my center, because the center is your quarterback of your line.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so there's 2 kids that came out of my program, and they both played together in my 2015 team. These had to be the smartest 10-year-old linemen I've ever seen. You could teach them like they was in high school when they was 10 years old. They could tell you everybody's assignments, and you could move them around, and they knew every position, and they was dominant. And if you move forward right now, they're both dominant in high school. One of them's at Sheridan and one of them's at Bryan High School, and they're both dominant right now. Well, now one of them got flipped to a defense, but he's been heavily recruited right now. But I could see that even back then. But as far as linemen, I always start my team off with my linemen, because I don't care how good you can have Randy Moss and Terrell Owens. But if you ain't got Nate Newton, if you ain't got Larry Allen, then them skill guys ain't going to amount to anything. So I always start with my linemen.
Now, as far as your quarterback goes, there's a lot to be said for how the offense is set up. No coach can have a perfect quarterback that can dink and dunk and throw the long ball and run and scoot. Those are few and far between. At the youth level, even I imagine at your different age groups, your quarterback is going to be responsible or have a particular asset that you capitalize on that's going to be different from different age groups. Am I right?
Yeah, and go to thing with me. I coach 9, 10-year-olds. I just love 10U division. That's where I can teach the kids the game mentally. And so with me, if you're my quarterback, I let all the parents know if your child is my quarterback. Number one, he came his practice. Number two, your child gonna spend a lot of time with me. Because the head coach and the quarterback got to be on the same page. I take this youth football thing serious. Like we travel, we go to Florida, we go to Illinois, we go all over. So you don't want to have parents wasting money by taking kids who ain't really had practice or your quarterback ain't that good. So we put in the work, and my quarterback, I won in our first 9 years. We are going into year 10 right now, but in my first 9 years, we've won 6 of the 9 Super Bowls at my 10U division. And we've lost games here and there, but teams don't beat me back to back because I'm just too smart as far as breaking down film. That's where I think my NFL background comes in, where I can go watch the film, see where we messed up, see their weakness, and come back and exploit it. But the quarterback and my quarterback and my linemen are good friends, and I make sure that my quarterback and line are good friends because they got to all work together. And I make my quarterback and my center, they're able to be vocal leaders. And if a kid get out of line, they can tap a kid on the helmet, hey, be quiet. So, but the parents also understand this from the get-go. I take this as if I was still playing myself. I want to be able to say that these kids learned football from my program. And if you look all over the kids that came out of my program, I got a lot of kids right now that's starring in high school. And I think over the last 3-4 years, my program in Central Arkansas has the most kids with like scholarship offers or just went to college. Not saying that I had something to do with it, but those kids came out of my program. There's a lot of programs around here. If those programs aren't doing what that did, Little Rock coach told me last week at signing day. I had 2 of my kids signed with Arkansas Tech last week, and I was at the signing day. And when I went on stage to go take pictures with my kids, Little Rock coach said, the kids that come to me from your program are different.
That's amazing.
That came from North Little Rock's head coach. I had no clue he even knew who I was sitting in the audience. When I came on stage, I didn't know he knew who I was because I had a mask on. So he knew who I was by me being there. And he said, the kids come out of your program, they're different mentally.
Now, what about some of the assistant coaches you have? Because I know you don't do this all on your own. You can't. It's impossible. But you've got some people on your sideline that help you not just in the game, but in practice as well. How do you structure that as far as defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator? How NFL style do you get in your management of that staff?
It's exactly that. It's NFL style. All my coaches have to be on the same page. We all, from our 6, 8, 10, 12U, not 6, but more so 8, 10, 12, we run the same offense. It's a system.
Right.
It is my offense I put in, but it's a system. And when the kids can cut down on thinking and just play, if you've been in my program since you was, let's say, you was Reagan Hush baby, let's say you were like 7 years old and you are 11 now, that's 4 years of the same thing. You can just go play now. So my coaches do a great job of keeping everything the same and teaching the same thing. Same defense, same everything. So if you can't beat us, that's because we're out coaching you because we do the same thing. We may put in a few wrinkles here and there, but I have a great coaching staff. And a lot of these teams are consistent of coaches that have kids, dad coaches. My staff, we probably only have 4 coaches who have a kid playing. The rest of my staff are volunteer who've given up their time like I am. Right. And they love it.
Yeah. Well, make sure you give that running back coach that water football trick.
Yeah. So you say you cut the ball.
No, what I did is I deflate the ball to where you can squeeze it. And then I take the air pump and put with the needle on it and put it in a bucket of water or something and suck the water up into the pump. Then I inject that pump needle back into the football like I'm putting air in it, but now I'm putting water in the football. And then I do that until the football is about a third, a quarter, a third of the way full with water, and then put air in it the rest of the way. So now you've got a football that looks and feels as the same side, but when you move it, that water jerks and provides that force that you don't normally get with a regular football. You can take an air football and a water football together and do like this, and that water football is going to move out of your hand more than the air football will.
Never
Just
heard of
because
that.
of the force of that water. And that's something that I did. God, I used that back in early 90s, I think it was. And matter of fact, the Razorback running back coach, and I can't remember his name now, he left 2 or 3 years ago. He and I had chatted, and he even used it. And what it does is when a running back, or anybody for that matter, is handling that football, their motion causes the football to have a mind of its own, essentially.
Because the water going back and forth.
Yeah, if you're making, well, you know how it is when you hold a water balloon. Don't tell me you never threw a water balloon on somebody.
Oh, yeah.
You're holding that water balloon, you know, the more you move it, the more unstable it becomes. And it's no different than weights. You know, if you're lifting weights, you feel that pressure, that resistance, that difference. And then you pick up a pencil, it's nothing. And that's the way it is with a water ball. You're running with a water ball, and then you get a real one in your hand, and nobody's knocking that thing out.
Right.
Because you've got that ultra grip on it. And
you got to squeeze it extra tight. Yeah, that's
exactly.
I'm going to try that. I promise you. I got a few footballs that just lounge around footballs.
Yep, that's what we used.
Yeah, I'm going to take those balls and do that.
Yeah, and I liked using the older ones for this particular purpose because they didn't have the tacky. They were slick from being old, you know, and it helps if you leave them out in the rain overnight. They get a little bit of that slick mold feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
And those running backs, wide receivers, any linebackers. I even had linebackers doing it, you know, picking up fumbles and stuff. And we would take it and throw it on the ground and have fumble recovery drills. And you'd see that ball literally pop out of the pile sometimes where those guys were trying to pick it up and move it, and it just went flying. But, yeah, definitely try it. It works on the running backs. It absolutely does. But, anyway, enough about that. You as a kick returner, this is something that's always amazed me is no two kick returners are the same. You know, I think, you know, if you look at your style, you look at the joystick, old Dante, and some of the other great kick returners, you're looking at people who don't necessarily practice together. They didn't necessarily come up the same way. They didn't necessarily have the same background or body style for that matter. They each have their own little unique way of making it work for them. Some use speed. Some use the tackle, being untackable or whatever you want to call it. You just can't bring them down. Some of them use elusiveness. You know, you can get a hand on them, but that's about all you're going to get on them.
Mm-hmm.
For you, pretty much, it was the stop, the move. You know, a lot of it was just straight ahead. You found a crease, and you had that second and third gear to bust through there and make a run for it. If you could have improved on one thing of your ability, would it have been the strength, more speed, or elusiveness?
Elusiveness. I was north and south. You look at a guy like Dante Hall. You look at a guy like Devin Hester. Those guys could stop, start, and when they stop and start, they could be almost at top speed once they restart. That wasn't my game.
Right.
People with me on kick returns, if you go back and watch all of my films, and you know, this is a study I did on myself. If I took 11 steps, 11 stride without having to move, it was going to be a big return. If you made me shuffle my feet, I wasn't that stop and restart guy. And so my thing was seeing the hole and hitting it. Guys like Dante, they could zigzag their way, find a hole, stop, cut over here. You rarely would see me do that. And if I did it, it wasn't going to be a big return. So once I figured out my strength, I just used my strength. And, you know, so the key to my style was starting one way, you know, 3-4 steps, and then while I'm in stride, cut back just a little bit. Just kind of get them going one way, and then bam, they go to crease right there. If you watch my returns, I do that. and I ran a 4.2. So once I got going, I was gone. But if you stopped me, it was hard for me to restart.
As far as the ground, was it AstroTurf or natural grass you prefer?
It was that old turf. Some fields had grass, and then they started putting the field turf in right at like 2003, 2003. That new turf now.
Yeah.
But the old Cowboy Stadium was that old hard turf like concrete, and it took a lot of skin.
Reggie, we're about halfway through the show, and I know there's some people that want to come on and say hi to you and maybe have a question or two for you. What I'm going to do first and foremost is bring on an owner of the Green Bay Packers. This person made me a daddy. So there's my daughter, Brooke.
Hey, Brooke, how you doing?
Baby.
There we go.
Say hi to Reggie.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well, Brooke. How are you?
Doing well.
Awesome.
Yeah,
You say she's shocked?
I'm always spooking her with stuff like this. I had Pat Bradley and I used to work a lot with the 103.7 The Buzz guys, and he and I were at a show. I don't remember how long ago it's been now, but I used to call Panther football and baseball and college and Harding on the radio and stuff. So I knew those guys, and I told Pat Bradley about how much of a crush my young daughter had on him from his basketball days. And so he got on the phone with her, and I don't think she still believes it was him to this day.
Talking about Brooke?
Yeah.
Pass my guy, man. Pass my guy.
Yeah, the killer, the shooter.
Yeah.
He's a crazy one, but I wanted to bring Brooke on. I know she's a huge Green Bay Packer fan. And I told her, I said, Reggie's been on that field a time or two. He knows what it's like.
Yeah. That's in fact, the Cowboys traded me to Green Bay. I absolutely hated it there. I wasn't there long, but I actually played against Green Bay when I was in Detroit, and that was the coldest game of my life. It's on my highlight reel too. You can see how it was. I think the wind. It was 16 degrees, but wind chill made it 4 below. And this is the game that all the receivers decide they want to go out there with no sleeves on. So we all went out there in the pregame. We all had sleeves on. Then we go back in the locker room so we can get ready for the game. And all of a sudden, the guy's like, "Hey man, let's go out there and go sleeveless." And I'm like, "Scooby Doo, who?" What? So I was
not today.
Take mine off, and so he's like, "Come on, man, you can't be the only one." So we come down that tunnel, that little small tunnel y'all see. We come down that tunnel, and I hit that grass field, and I had never ran that fast in my life to that bench where the heat was. I said, "Man, y'all lost y'all mind."
And they didn't have those big sideline heaters then, did they?
Oh yeah, they did, and I stayed right there. If I wasn't on the field playing, I was on that bench sitting down right by them heaters. It was ridiculous.
Crazy. Well, I'm originally from Virginia. Well, originally from Germany, but was raised and played ball in Virginia. And it's just ironic that we have two other guys in the background that are from Virginia, and one is Joe, and the other is Shannon. And Shannon. Matter of fact, Shannon and I didn't meet until we started playing against each other in What If Sports. And come to find out, our high schools played football against each other. So, this program, we have players from all over the world, New Zealand, Australia, England, Japan, everywhere. And, there's a couple people from places. I'm like, how do you even know what the hell American football is? I graduated from Massachusetts, So, I love the community feel that we have with this program. And that's why I get the guys on and we shoot the breeze and crack up. If you want to see the show that'll bring tears to your eyes, and Shannon was a part of it, was the first anniversary show from March of last year. Normally these are about an hour, and that show went 2 hours, and I finished off a bottle of what, Shannon?
I think it was bourbon.
That was caramel kissed vodka.
Oh, is it vodka? Oh, I was drinking
caramel,
See, I can't
caramel
remember 'cause
kiss
I was drinking
vodka on air during the show. We were we were just a bunch of old guys having a good time. But anyway, you guys say hi to Reggie.
Hey, Reggie.
Hey, how y'all doing?
How you doing, Reggie?
I got to tell you, I really enjoyed hearing about your coaching of the sports programs, and that means a lot. It means a lot to those kids and their families. So I'm sure they appreciate it. I'm sure you get a lot of thank yous. But even though I'll probably never see your kids play, I'm sure that you're a great motivator and leader for them, and that's wonderful for those kids.
Thank you.
And you don't know, Shannon. One of them might end up at Virginia Tech.
Maybe.
Well, you know,
maybe.
You know, Virginia Tech, their old head coach, Justin Fuentes, he went to Murray State where I went. In fact, he came to Murray State 2 years after I left. And
really,
you know, I like him. I had so much faith in him. I'm a big Virginia Tech fan as well, and I don't know what happened. You know, when he
following a
Memphis,
legend is never the position to be in. He followed Beamer, and Beamer had about run the horse dry.
And Beamer also came from Murray State.
He did.
And then they kept a coach on there, I think, that coached me at Murray State named Charlie Wiles. He's linebackers coach. He came out of Murray State.
Yeah.
Man, that's
that's
incredible. Was it the Racers, right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, I think
you're talking to the guy that has got that. Was it the yardage, kickoff return yardage, touchdown yardage, or receiving yards, first one?
Somebody Murray?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was the first 1,000-yard receiver. I used to be the most famous Murray State racer until this guy named John Morant went to Memphis. The Memphis Grizzlies. And I'm loving everything he's doing.
And, you know, Shannon lives right up there by the, was that prep school that nobody's ever heard of, Shannon?
Oak Hill Academy.
Yeah, nobody's ever heard
of Oak Hill.
Yeah, I live about 3 miles from there. Yeah.
That's a basketball school.
Steve announced his retirement last night. I don't know if you guys know or not. He announced his retirement last night, their head coach. So, there'll be a big ball game there tomorrow night if you want to go and try to fight that crowd. I think it seats maybe 100. So it'll be packed.
You're not getting in. Yeah. You're not getting in unless you're there right now. You're not getting in at all. Joe, you got any questions?
You probably get tired of getting asked questions about, well, maybe you do, I don't know, about your NFL career, man. But of all those kickoff returns and all those incredible plays that were you in and playing on Thanksgiving and all those things, what are a couple of the memories you cherish most from your NFL career? It doesn't have to be a game. Just it could be a plane ride or somebody that you talked to.
I'll go on the field first. My most fondest memory was because I grew up a Cowboy fan and diehard Cowboy fan. And before I made the Cowboys, I had been cut by 6 different teams. And so playing in preseason games at that point.
That's me too.
Hey, Reggie, you keep talking. I'm a Cowboy fan. I'm an old Roger Staubach man, okay? So
Gotcha.
Okay? Nobody else knows you played with Ryan Leaf, man, because you were there in like 2001, right? Weren't you there?
I was there when he came in.
Yeah, nobody else knows you played with Ryan Leaf, but I know that because I'm a Cowboy.
Yeah, Emmitt Smith didn't even want him in the locker room, but
no.
I got stories about that, man. But
that's time for another show.
Yeah, when I came out of the tunnel for the very first time, being a Cowboy fan since I was a kid, and I remember watching all my idols come down that one tunnel. And on Sunday game day, first game against Tampa Bay, and I'm walking down that tunnel on a Sunday, not a Friday preseason game or Saturday preseason. This is a Sunday. And I'm coming down that tunnel noon, and I'm just as nervous. And I'm talking about because I'm the kick return guy. I made the team finally. So if they kick off first, I'm the first man to touch the ball.
First guy.
Yeah, and I remember they wanted kickoff and wanted the damn ball. I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. As I was over there shaking, I was in my boots like, Lord, I've been praying to come here, and you let me come now. Woo! And I remember when Tampa Bay scored, when Brad Johnson threw the touchdown pass to Keyshawn Johnson. And I remember they said, kickoff return team in the box. And all that means is everybody come up and get in the box. We're going to count 1, 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting back there just all bug-eyed, like, oh, shit. Here it comes.
Wow.
And I get back there, and the ball's in the air. And when I caught it, something came over me. And I took that ball 77 yards on my first return down to the 16-yard line and got tackled by a guy that became my teammate, but I forget his name. He came to Dallas the next year. I was like, oh, I can do this. But that was my first memory, and then my first touchdown Thanksgiving Day against Denver, 65-yard punt return. Those memories there. But then, you know, being on the field.
You're like a top 5. You're like a top 5 Cowboys returner, right? I mean,
Well, they
anytime
voted me
anybody
on
puts a list together, right?
They voted me on the 2000 All-Decades team.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So, but then being on the field the day Emmitt Smith broke Walter Payton's record.
Oh, man.
That was.
Oh, yeah, that'd been cool.
That scene that day, it was like a complete movie. And when, you know, so, and if you go back and watch his documentary, it shows he and I talking on the field in the back of the end zone. And it shows me asking him, was he nervous?
Yeah.
I had no idea he was mic'd up. Had no idea cameras were on him or me. And it had us talking. And then when he broke the record, he came on the sideline and he hugged, I think it was Moose Johnson, then Michael Irvin. Then he came to me and hugged me. And all that's documented, all that's like on the internet. You can go find the pictures, and I got it in my phone as a momentum. But that, to be there when he broke that record,
that's a special.
I hate we lost the game. That's the only bad thing about it. But that day was crazy. And I'm in the history books. And let me show you guys one thing. Give me about 10 seconds, all right?
Okay. Right ahead.
Hey, hold on 1 second.
You know what? He should have written a check to Nate Newton. I mean, you know, Nate Newton.
All right.
You know,
so the day he broke the record, he came in the locker room that Monday as we go in and watch film, and he gave every single player, he gave us all kinds of gifts for him breaking the record, but he gave us gifts.
Right.
He gave us a Palm Pilot. He gave us a watch.
Oh, wow.
He gave us all this wine right here. It's never been opened. As you can see, it says his name right there.
Yeah.
And it and I don't know how they got the yards on there, like in one day. It's got his yardage and everything on this bottle. And I've never opened it.
Man. That's worth more than my house.
Yeah.
And also I got something right now upstairs on my wall. When he broke the record, I can show you better than I can tell you. Hold on.
He's pulling to Shannon.
When he broke the record, see, I was smart. When he broke the record, I actually had bought a jersey of his beforehand. And after the game, I rushed to his locker, had him sign it. You can't see me right now, but I rushed to his locker, had him sign it. Normally, he signed his name like to so-and-so from Emmitt Smith. But I called him when his head was spinning, and he just signed his name, and he dated it on the day he broke the record. It's the only jersey of its kind.
And,
man.
The first thing he signed after breaking the record, I'm sure.
Wow.
Here, let me.
Reggie must have got far from that Wi-Fi. His signal's breaking up. He's like Shannon walking through the house. As long as Reggie don't go to the bathroom live, we're all right. Shannon's been known to do that a time or two.
At least once. At least once.
Oh, we lost Reggie. I'm sure he'll be back. There he is. He's back.
Yeah, there he is. Maybe.
We saw you for a second.
Brooke, it's nice to meet you, and I'm so sorry.
For what? Do you know who my dad is? You are not going to offend me.
Okay, y'all there?
We got you.
We got you now.
Okay, I got bad signal upstairs apparently, but I can't turn my camera around for some reason. But I can rush over and turn this around. Look.
Oh, yeah.
Too cool.
And he signed it. He signed it right there. You probably can't see it.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, too cool.
Wow.
And that's the only one of his kind. And that's Anquan Bowden. He got a,
Oh, he's got a bowl
now.
too.
I asked Brooke, I said, whose favorite number is 22?
My daddy.
Man, that's awesome, Reggie. What a great thing to have, man. That's incredible.
That's crazy.
And check this out. Now, right here is all the balls that I've scored with or done something with. So,
wow.
It has the New York Giants. They all Tom Brady balls. They're all flat now.
Yeah, see that? Yeah, you don't want to put water in those, Reggie.
Yeah, this right here says first career touchdown reception, 45 yards against the Cardinals in Sun Devil Stadium. This is my Cardinal helmet, my actual game helmet. My actual Cowboys game helmet right here.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
This is what Joey Galloway bought all of the wide receivers for Christmas in 2001.
Nice.
He has my picture right here, me running the ball. And I got Kurt Warner's jersey. Y'all probably can't see it.
Oh, yeah, we see it.
Kurt
It's
Warner,
signed, too.
Then Marvin Harrison's. Now, Marvin Harrison, I'm going to tell y'all a story about Marvin Harrison jersey. That happened to be the last game I ever played in. I didn't know that was going to be the last game I played in. But Marvin Harrison, so after the game, I went to him, and I asked him for his jersey. He took it off his shoulder pads, gave it to me. But then he asked me for my jersey. I was like, what do you want my jersey for? You going to throw darts at it? So he got my jersey from me. And so that's the jersey that he wore January the 1st of 2006. That was my last game.
Wow.
Man. That's incredible stuff. But that's some valuable memories right there.
That's nice stuff, Reggie.
Mementos from the wazoo.
Yeah.
Joe, you got any questions for Reggie? I know you've been on here for a while.
I don't have any questions. Of course, I'm a little bit thrown off talking to a Dallas Cowboy, being a Redskin fan. But I will say this. I will say this. It's a pleasure hearing what you do with young men. Of course, whether they become good football players or not, that's really not the important thing. You're being a good influence on them and being, sending off fine young men into the world. And I want to give you kudos for that. We need more of that in this world.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And I want to thank you for that. And we'll put aside the fact that you grew up a Cowboy fan. So.
Well, listen. So I never had a good game against the Redskins with the Cowboys. However, when I was with the Detroit Lions, I absolutely annihilated the Redskins. And I annihilated Fred Smoot, who's my buddy. He was a cornerback then. That's also the very same game that Sean Taylor blindsided me, and I didn't know which way was up.
The big 2-1.
Rest in peace, Sean Taylor. But he caught me across the middle. I wasn't looking, and all I remember is my feet and ass being in the air.
What the hell? Who put carpet on
and
the
I
wall?
looked up, and what's so crazy about that story is we knew all week that he was a cheap shot artist. Like what he did back then is not allowed now.
Right.
And we were all
Like
told
Jack
all
Tatum.
week long, huh?
Like Jack Tatum.
Yeah, we were all told all week long, if you're around Sean Taylor, keep your eyes open, head on swivel. So I knew this, and I ran a dig route, and he was the dang free safety coming down. And I don't know why I kind of relaxed. And all I remember is looking up and seeing the top of Ford Center because I was on my back. And
Now,
him and
go ahead.
do what now?
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
I say he and Rodney Harrison both got me the same way. Caught me slipping. So, and Sean Dawkins. So I took some hits by some of the guys that are real hitters in the game.
Now, before the show comes to a close, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Deion. Coach Prime down at Jackson State has done tremendous things, and there's so many rumors out there that are nothing but BS. Folks just hate it when somebody does something the right way and it works instantaneously. Well,
yeah,
that's Prime. I mean, that's him his whole life. Even when he was down in Fort Myers, he was a star and things happened for him right away. He is turning that program around, and your son is going to be blessed by being a part of that, and seeing that up close. The facilities down there are amazing. Talk to us
You
about
saw you saw my pictures?
Your pictures?
You saw my pictures? You saw my pictures?
Yeah, I saw one of you and your son, and I think Coach Markinson was on there too.
Yep. And did you see the locker room?
I saw him on not on yours. I've seen
I
them on.
posted.
I've seen some online from they got
I'm not
like, TVs everywhere and stuff. Amazing.
Now go back on my page and look at the pictures I put up of the locker room.
Okay.
I see why he's getting those guys to decommit and come over there, because the locker room is like an Alabama locker room or LSU locker room. I mean, each locker has its own flat screen TV.
Yeah, wow. Right.
So it's got video games all through the locker, like 20 video games, so kids can play PS5. They don't have, when they leave there and go to their dorm, it's like going from a very nice neighborhood to the hood. The kids ain't gonna want to leave the football stadium. They don't want to stay there all day long because everything they want is there. Plus, he also got it where the kids ain't got to eat in the regular cafeteria. He got their own dining room for the football players only, and they eat steak and potatoes.
Yep, it's scripted meals probably. Everybody's getting good nutrition, definitely.
And so my son, he's texting me or calling me, letting me know how much fun he's having in just 2 days.
See, he don't know it now, but he'll know 20, 30 years from now just how special these times are and how special his immediate future is going to be long ways down the road. I mean, and I know you had, tremendous amount of fun at Murray State. I mean, Houston Nutt was there, for crying out loud. How can you not?
Oh, man. And we're still close. We're still close. Me and Coach Nutt, we probably talk once a week, or if we don't talk, we text. He was very instrumental in my career. Like it wouldn't be no me without him.
Yeah,
and so I said
that's what we talked about earlier, Reggie. It went from him to you, and now you're imparting that same luxury to some of those other young men.
Just tell your son.
One thing that he always told us.
Don't get Deion's feet.
I can't hear you.
Don't get Deion's feet while he's down there around Deion.
Hold on one second. Hey, Reagan, come here, baby. Come here, baby. My grandbaby. Come here, baby. Yeah, come here for my grandbaby.
That's good.
Yeah, you so sleepy. Your grandma.
Say hi to Majique.
Just being mean.
Say hi to Majique. How you doing, young lady?
Oh,
how you doing?
Say hi. She just says, your grandma being mean.
We love you.
But listen, my wife about to get ready and leave, so I need to go see her out right quick.
You go right ahead.
Nice to meet you, Reggie. Keep helping those young men out.
Nice to meet y'all. All right, take care.
Hey, y'all take care. And Reggie, holler at me if you need anything, brother. You know that. You know how to get a hold of me. All right, folks. That was neat. That was a good little treat for the What If Sports community. And I meant to ask him if he was going to bring pay it forward thing, have Quincy Carter give me a holler. The old quarterback from down there. I'll get with him and make it kind of like we did with the original podcast of this, that, and the other, where you had to pick the questions for the next show.
That's good.
I'll do that with Reggie and have him get me in touch with somebody else that he wants to for me to interview, and we'll kind of do that on occasion for the show. But it's 8:00, folks. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, but I appreciate you guys coming on. And Joe, we're definitely going to have you on when we got some more one-on-one time. And this opportunity came up, and you're not important enough to bump Reggie Swinton. So I just said, yeah, come on.
It shows a great day to come on.
And again, Brooke, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. Well, I think it goes without saying about, Majique. I'm sorry. Yeah.
He's my dad. I've had to deal with him for 38 years.
Again, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do all the apologies nobody else has told you about. So
yeah.
Well, she's the one in our fantasy football league that we have, the Friends and Family Fantasy Football League. And did you place like second or third this year, Brooke?
I placed third only because in like week 17, my whole roster was out with COVID. So I was kind of.
Who won the league?
Huh?
Who won the league this year?
Probably you.
Yeah, like he didn't know.
He
That's
got to
why
get
he brought
rigged.
it up. Yeah. Let's see. Who won that?
Surely not. Surely I'm dumb.
Oh.
We're gonna wrap it up. Definitely
Nice
look forward
to
to
meet
having
you.
you on again,
Nice
Joe.
to meet you, Joe.
Appreciate you. Shannon, you be good and tell Mom we wish her all the best.
All right, buddy.
All
We'll do it. Y'all take care.
Man, loved having you guys on. Like I said, next time we'll spend a little more time and enjoy ourselves. Brooke, give them grandbabies hugs and kisses for me.
I will. They come back tomorrow. So,
Okay, love you.
okay. Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.